morning, Group 52. I'm so blessed to be before you again, and I pray the Lord Jesus continues to keep you and your family. Now, this week I have a question for you. What's the biggest problem in your life? Maybe you made it, maybe you didn't make it. But what's the biggest problem? Is it a day old, a week old, months, years? What's the biggest problem that you have in your life? Now, I want to take a look at a parable with a man that has a lot of significant problems. And that's the parable of the prodigal son. If you're not familiar with it, you can find it in Luke chapter 15. But the prodigal son has asked his father for his inheritance, and he squandered it living wild in a foreign land, and he has pretty much sold himself into slavery, taking care of pigs, and he's starving to death thinking about eating the food that the pigs has. So you see, whether he got there on his own or not, we're not talking about that. But this man has a lot of problems. But this is one verse I want to highlight. Chapter 15, verse 17 of Luke. When he came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare? And here I am starving to death." So many times we want people to deliver the answers to us. We want the heavens to open up and an angel come down with a scroll and tell us this is the answer. We want someone else to solve the problem for us. But the first part of verse 17 reads, when he came to his senses. The prodigal son delivered himself. You see, so often God has placed the answer inside of us, and we just need to realize it. Maybe you were taught the right way to go growing up, and you simply forgot what you need to do. But the prodigal son came to his senses. No one did it for him. No one gave him the answer. There's some things in life that we just have to realize for ourselves. So what he did was shift his perspective on his problem. You see, our problems are only as big as our perspective. And it's easy to say, but sometimes when you've been in a problem for years, you can give up hope. When you've been in it for years and you've tried all you can think of, you give up hope. But sometimes you have to shift your perspective, take a step back from the problem. And sometimes you'll realize you were just drowning in a cup of water, not making light of any issues that anyone has. But it's so hard to get consumed by a problem that you've been in for years. So I encourage anyone in that situation, shift your perspective. Try to think differently. Do what the prodigal son did. Remember who your father is. Remember the truth of your inheritance. Remember there's always somewhere to go back to. Remember that greater is he who is in you than anything you'll face in the world. So be encouraged that every problem has a solution. And that if you can't find it on your own, reach out to someone in your community. Get help. Get another perspective on this problem. But please don't give up on your problem. Whether you're 10 years old or you're 80 years old, no problem has to last. So I encourage you, lean on one another. Keep looking for an answer. Don't give up, because that's the enemy's biggest hope for you. And remember what your Father has placed in you and what he's given you. Thank you, Group 52. Have a blessed week.